found in the chat when we're done. And the other thing that it will do is I'll be able to send that out to you as well when we're finished. So from the desktop, I am going to go and start from complete scratch. So when you open up your internet, we are going to go into mycbdesk.com. Now, just to be clear, just in case anybody on the call isn't aware, and that's okay, we all have this Office 365 and email tab. Yours may not be at the top. That's okay. If you go over here to find an app and you type in Office, it's going to pop right up for you. Just as a hint, excuse me, if you do that with anything, so if I need dot loop, I just start typing in the tool and it's going to bring that tool up to the top no matter what. You can toggle the tools around. You can change them to different positions. My Office 365 is at the top. When you click on the little briefcase, it's going to ask you, do you want to stay signed in? Yes, yes, I do. You can tell it to not show you that again. And you'll see here that you're going to have Office 365. So Coldwell Banker provides you with your Office Outlook email, OneDrive, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, your SharePoint, the Teams that we're on right now, and a Yammer page, which is basically like social media on steroids. It's all real estate all the time. I'm in a whole bunch of groups on Yammer. It's pretty wild. But your OneDrive is basically, for those of you, I don't know, I'm not as familiar with all the offices. I know at one point when I started with Bel Air, we had a P drive and an H drive. So you were able to have a drive where you were able to put your own personal things and then a drive that was for the entire office. And that's basically what this is. Anybody that's familiar with Google, this is just like Google Drive. So your OneDrive is always for one person. That's always going to be just for you, not for anybody else. Anything that you put into a OneDrive, the benefit of putting it into OneDrive, other than on your computer, is right now I'm on a laptop. If something were to happen and my laptop dies, and God forbid I have to go to my personal laptop, or I'm in the office and I want to use a computer, let's say that I wasn't planning on doing real estate that day and something came up and I have to run into the office, I can log into my CB desk. I can go into my OneDrive and I can still find all of the paperwork that I need. I can be in the Bahamas on a beach somewhere where I would really like to be right now, and I could pull up my OneDrive and anything that I need in that OneDrive. SharePoint, however, is shared with everyone. So I'll click on SharePoint as an example to let you see. Here I have a whole bunch of different sites that I'm a part of. The Towson office, so we have a staff only for Hartford County. There are admin sides for every office, but as I scroll through, you'll see, that I'm in the Hartford County group. I'm in the Timonium group, the Towson and the White Marsh groups. And when I go into my SharePoint, so I'll just click on Towson because it's the one that's right here. As I click on that, you'll see everything will come up this way, and I'll see documents over here, and I'll see documents over on the left side as well. When I click on documents, that gives me access to anything that is in SharePoint. For example, if I am trying to email Brenda a file and the file is just way too big and it just won't email, I can always save that to SharePoint with Brenda in the White Marsh SharePoint, and I can tell Brenda, hey, it's in SharePoint. She's able to go into SharePoint and access that. Now, that does mean that every single person in the office is able to access that, but I don't know too many people that are in here looking every day at, what can I look at, because we just don't have time for that. I will tell you that right now there is a marketing folder in your OneDrive. So if you do click on that, you'll find a lot of really great articles, different things, different folders that have articles in them. All of the holiday images are in here that are in CB1. So that wasn't a good example because they didn't pop up. All of the so the North Star logos and that type of thing. So once I'm in documents itself, I don't want to open up any of the folders per se. There is a button right here at the top that says sync. So I'm going to click on that button, and what it's going to do, I'm going to open even though it says OneDrive. I'm going to open that up. And what it's going to do is it's going to take every single folder that's in Documents. It's going to check all of them off, and I'm going to start a sync. And what that's going to do is it's going to take all of those documents and it's going to put them on my computer so that I can access them directly from my computer. Now, what that looks like is down here, I have this lovely little file folder. So when I pull up my computer, as we often do, you'll see here that I have my OneDrive and all of my different folders. I have a lot of folders that I organize everything in. And down here, it's going to say Realogy. And you'll see that I'm in all of these different groups here where I'm able to put information, a marketing folder and such, and documents in, so that anybody right now that's in the Timonium office, they can get into SharePoint and they can look at everything in that SharePoint. The same thing with Towson, with Hartford County, and it looks like I'm in the admin White Marsh. I may not be in the other one, so I'll have to ask Andrea about that again. But also you'll see documents and pictures and different things down here. So you'll see that's where I would normally put something in a document and it would live on my computer. Well, the problem is if I have something on here that's on this computer and I'm on a different computer, I cannot access it. However, I can go in here to Towson and I'm going to find all the same folders that were in that SharePoint in that drive, but now they're easily accessible on my computer. So you'll see, so we'll just go through, and again, I can go into that marketing folder. I can go into those holiday images and all of the images will come up. Now I will tell you, if you go into the images, when you are in your SharePoint here, you're not able really to look at all of the different images on the side. They will come up in a list as this does. So I do find it being on my computer, it's much easier for me to look at. I can pull up the North Star logos and all of them are there for me. Just different things maybe that your SSA may include, or your manager may say, check SharePoint. And once you sync, it should automatically sync for you all the time. So that if I'm doing anything now, I never come into Desk, I never come into my SharePoint. I always just access it via this tile over here, these tabs under Realogy, where I can go in and then access the different, and you'll see some of them are a little bit different, but here we have logos and things like that, just to make sure. And anytime that you go in, for example, I have a lot of X's right here. That might mean I need to go back in and sync my Timonium documents again, just to make sure that they work. You'll see here they all have check marks. So I guess it would be nice if I try to make that a little bit bigger. But you'll see here they all have check marks and they're green. If they're red, it just means that they're not coming through correctly. So these are red. So I would need to sync that again. And again, I would just go into SharePoint. I would find that specific SharePoint, and I would just sync that again. The other thing that you have in here is when you click on your Office 365, you have your OneDrive. And again, that's for something, those are for things that you want to share, you know, with yourself maybe later on. If it's on, you know, I don't want to put it on my laptop, because if I have to run into the office to print a contract out or print something out, I can go to Dotloop. But if it was something that I'd saved on my computer and I didn't have it in Dotloop, and it's not really something that needs to be in Dotloop, maybe it's my marketing, maybe it's a flyer, then I can just drop it into my OneDrive. And you can have just about as many folders as you would like to. And then you can also have some different files down here at the bottom. I am a very big fan of folders because that's how I find my things. And then again, you can just hit the sync button. It's going to get ready to sync. It's a cute girl there with the cute hair. And then it'll pop up and it'll let you sync to your computer. Now, if you see this here and it says it's getting ready to sync, it hasn't done it yet. I had an agent I was working with that said, oh, but the little girl popped up, and I thought I was fine. But she really wasn't, because it hadn't done anything. Now, this is going to take a really long time to pull it up. because I have a lot of stuff in my OneDrive. I probably have like 35,000 different things in my OneDrive.
Angie, can I say something here?
Sure.
Just recently, you and I went through and I downloaded the logos, the new logos. And anyway, I thought my computer was on the fritz. It just took so long to download them. So be patient with it, step back, and then come back to your computer later. I had to reboot my computer because I thought for sure I screwed things up, but it does take a few minutes.
So you can see here that this is, I say it's taken a hot minute and a half. And so finally this came up here. And yes, I want to open it. And with something like the logos, because they are such a high definition, some of them are very, very large files. And it also depends on how fast your computer is. So here I'm going to start this sync. And what it will do is I already have them synced in my computer. But you can see here, I can click on this OneDrive for Realogy, and everything that I have is here. So you can see I have a whole lot of, so I have a lot of things in here, all the stuff I need to put into folders. But you can do whatever you want in your OneDrive. You can see I have lots of different folders for things so that I can find them. I can go into pictures and I have everything mapped out, you know, in my pictures as well. But it does give you that option that if I then want to go and let's say right now I'm not on my laptop. Let's say I am in the office. I've ran in for something and I really need that flyer that I made and I put it in my OneDrive. I'm able to log on to a computer in the office and I can click on this Office 365. I can say yes, and then I can go into my OneDrive and I can find that flyer or whatever it is that I'm looking for. You know, if I need a logo, anything that I'm looking for, as long as I know what folder I put it in, I'm able to go in and find that. You know, it's a lot easier, I think, once you've used it a couple of times. So the first time I used this, I thought it was a little wonky. And I was like, you know, this right here makes my head spin around in circles. I'm like, what is this? But definitely kind of go in. I always ignore all of this stuff unless it's something recent that I've pulled up. Anything, if I've pinned it to the top, anything that somebody has shared with me. So you can see here some things have been shared with me from marketing, from, you know, an SSA, and I can discover different things that other people might be doing as well that are out in the open and public. But definitely if you sync it to your computer, you can just pull it up via the regular computer. And then if I'm on something, so say right now I wanted to go to Facebook and I wanted to do a Facebook post and I wanted to show everybody what our new logo is. I could, instead of going into CV1, finding that logo, saving it to my computer, I can just hit this photo button. I can go over here and I can go right into my OneDrive as long as I know where I found it. But I can go into my OneDrive and I can look for that logo and the logo here, and I'm able to pull it right up and it will put the logo there for me, rather than going through all the different steps to then go log into Desk, go into the OneDrive or go into the SharePoint and look for those things. I'm able to pull it up and easily access it directly from whatever computer I'm on. Now, if you're in the office, it's not going to be synced with the kiosk that you're working on, but you may have a desktop. If you have your own office, you may have a desktop that you use, and you can definitely sync it to that computer as well. You would have to log on, obviously, to the computer to be able to access that. But you can see down here, I have some documents that I've saved here. Unless I'm on this laptop, I can't get to any of this stuff. Same thing with pictures. So we had our virtual slide presentation the other day, and I was stealing all of the slides. If I was on a different computer, I wouldn't be able to access any of these. So it's definitely important that I would definitely brush up a little bit and kind of go in there and poke around with it. Again, you also have access to using Excel, Word, PowerPoint those types of things that are in here. So if I open Word up in here, it is a little bit different than being on the desktop. So there is a little bit of a learning curve. It saves automatically. And I can go through and I can type up a Word document and I can save it. I can open it in my desktop app because I do have Word on this computer. But if I don't, there's no need for me to pay for it because Coldwell Banker provides it. And then I can always go here and I can save it as something else and save it in a specific place. But again, I can share it from here. I can make comments, etc. But you do have all of these features in your Coldwell Banker and your Office 365 suite. So does anybody have any questions? Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody with all of that. It's a lot to look at when you first get into it. Any questions you guys can write into the chat, or if you want to, you don't have to be on film. If you just want to unmute yourself and ask a question, that's okay too.
It seems like it might take up a lot of bandwidth on your computer if you sync it, you know, so.
Well, remember too that because it's a OneDrive, it's basically that virtual drive. So all of that information isn't being stored on my computer, but it's being stored kind of virtually. It's just allowing me to access that information that's in that drive. So for example, if I was able to sync my Google Drive with my computer, all of those documents aren't actually on my computer. They're still in the drive, but it just lets me access those. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not really going to take up any space on your computer per se.
No, it shouldn't.
Okay.
Anybody else? Bueller? Anybody at all? Does anybody already use this? Anybody have any feedback that actually uses it on a regular basis other than me?
Not yet.
Not
I
yet.
tried it and it worked, but I haven't utilized it yet.
Okay.
I gotta watch this again.
So I know just from my personal experience being in the Bel Air office, we had the H drive and the P drive, and I know that they were pretty well used at the time until our office moved, and then that kind of went by the wayside and it was replaced with this. But since it's not, it's a little bit different to use. You've used the Google Drive and you're familiar with Google Drive. It does have kind of the same, it's the same thing. It's storing everything in the cloud is basically what it is. And that's why if I go right now to the Bahamas and sit on the beach, I can open any laptop, any computer, anywhere in the globe. As long as I have internet access, I can access all my pictures, all my files, all my documents, anything that I place in there. Now, obviously, it's supposed to be for work. But, if I'm working with somebody and I have a buyer agency agreement and it's in my dot loop, I can put that in my OneDrive, and maybe I have a file for those particular clients where, if I have a flyer for their house, or if I'm doing marketing or any kind of communication log and I'm keeping that on my computer, again, I can access that anywhere. So it's similar to having almost like a dot loop, where dot loop is where you go and you create all of your files and you create things for your listings and for your sales. But what about all of the other stuff that you do with the clients that doesn't pertain to that, or maybe is not in your dot loop? This is an option to put them on the computer and access them anytime, like even just the logos. So if you're working on something and you need a Coldwell Banker logo, you're able to just access it directly from your computer rather than trying to navigate CB1 and find it, or actually logging in through SharePoint. So. Yes, I know I can't travel there right now, Pat. Thank you for reminding me. I wish I was in the Bahamas right now. I'd like to be quarantined there. Anybody have any other questions or anything? Anybody have anything specific that they want to learn while we're all sitting at home?
I have, I don't know if it's completely, I guess I have two questions. One, if you have a contract in dot loop that you have in dot loop, to get it to SharePoint, do you download it, or is there a button that you just I kind of remember there's a drop down that takes it to the OneDrive. Is that what happens?
Let me see if mine is set up the same as yours. So in Dotloop, I do love me some Dotloop. So in Dotloop, so if I go, so mine's fancy, sorry. So if I go into, let's see, let's go into my test loop. If I have something in here and I want to download it, let's say I have a seller landlord agreement and it's signed. So I'm going to open that up, and when I hit this button here and I download, okay, it's getting it ready. It comes up down here. Now when I click on that and I want to save that to my computer, I'm able to look over here on my computer and I'm able to save that directly into my OneDrive. So that on my computer, it's just like I'm saving it to the computer, but I'm really saving it in the cloud instead.
Okay.
I'm able to save it into a folder or anywhere that I need it, rather than going in and saving it to the computer and then going back in and uploading it to my OneDrive. So it kind of takes that extra step out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you save it at Save As, then it can go directly to the OneDrive?
As long as you've synced
right?
it with your computer, yeah, you're
Okay.
able to choose from the OneDrive, from the SharePoint. If you don't sync it with your computer, then you would have to save it to your computer, log into Desk, log into OneDrive, pull the OneDrive up, and then upload it from there.
Wow.
But
So
you're
that
able
would
to do that as well. So let me
Right.
do that as well, because I did forget about that part of it. So if I'm in my OneDrive, in the computer, I'm also able to, in the OneDrive itself, I'm able to take anything off of my computer and add it to my OneDrive this way. So I can always go to my files. In the OneDrive, it will just be your files, and you can see all of my SharePoint things are down here, so it's easily, easily accessible. But right here, I can upload. And I'd be able to upload that file specifically, and then I'd have to go to documents and I'd have to find that file, and then I'd have to upload it in here. If I have that information synced, I'm also able to, once I've pulled up, I've synced everything, I can go down here to my documents, and anything that I currently have on my computer, I'm able to take that information. And so if I have this calendar here, I can actually copy this calendar directly from my documents, scroll back up here to my OneDrive, and I can just paste it right into my OneDrive, and there it is. It's going to take it a minute to sync. Once it syncs, it's going to push it alphabetically in order. But if you right now have a laptop and you have a lot of information that's on your laptop and you're afraid of losing it, because we all know what happens when your laptop dies. Everything that's on your laptop dies with it. It's gone.
Right.
Unless you have a backup. And in the old days, what we used to do is we would plug in those external hard drives and we'd back everything up. Now we don't even have to do that. We can just save it to the cloud. If, for God forbid, this laptop decided to crash, I haven't lost anything. So I just paid Listing Concierge to go out and take pictures of my listing, and I have them saved to my computer, and my computer goes bye-bye. Guess what? If I put them in my OneDrive, I don't have to go back through the process of going back to that email, uploading all those pictures again, and saving them to my computer. If I need them, they're just on my OneDrive. So any device that you're on, if you're keeping your information on that device and that device crashes, you've lost your information. When you store it in the cloud, it's, God forbid your laptop dies, you still have every document, everything that you need. It's still organized and it's still there for you to be able to access it. So that I think is the biggest and the best thing about it is that, we all know what happens. I've had friends where their laptops died and they've lost all their pictures and they've lost all their stuff. documents anything that you keep on there that's important. So yeah, I would definitely utilize that as much as possible. Oh, so Steffi wants to know what is on tomorrow's schedule. So tomorrow's schedule, I will pull that up and tell you guys. So far, and I may add a few things at the last minute, but how to maximize your profile and your InTouch, your Moxie, and your Prospect Square. So we're going to be going over at 1 o'clock how to find where that account information is and how to input it. Virtual Education Expo is at 2 o'clock for those that are interested. And we are going to do a little half an hour at 4 o'clock, where to find the current North Star logos. So where can you find them? Once you have everything synced, how can you take those out and just put them in your cloud to be able to easily access those as well? And I might add a couple of other things in there in the morning because I don't have too many one-on-ones just yet. So if there's anything you guys want to learn, let me know soon so that we can get that done. And we'll get that done and get you guys, rolling on all this virtual stuff, because I know it is a little bit different working from home if you're not as accustomed to it, and it feels like everything's being thrown at you at one time. But I would just say chunk it, take it little by little, a little piece here, a little piece there. I know several agents that are on this call. We started with your InTouch pages several months ago, and from then to now, you guys have so much more stuff on your sites. It didn't happen overnight. It happened, little by little. So just know that I'm here. I'm your resource. If you need any help with anything, I'm here for anything. And our call is technically over. I'm going to stop recording. If anybody wants to stay on, if you guys want to socialize,